Hello, this is Jason Robinson from Illustration by Design. I'm hoping that this is everything's working. Hold on one second. Hello. Yep, there we go. I knew that would happen. Anyway, as I said, this is Jason Robinson This is Jason Robinson from Illustration by Design, and it's late at night, and I am babbling, but I'm here to finish this drawing of Spawn that I started on Drawn and Quartered, which is a weekly drawing competition on YouTube. I think there's a link in the description to it. But yeah, tonight the subject was Spawn, which I last time I drew him, I think, was when I did that Spawn job for Todd McFarlane 25 years ago. So it's been quite a while since I've drawn the character, but it was fun and very, very stressful because you only had 2 hours to do the entire illustration. And as you can see, I did not quite make it. And I came in last place, which was pretty cool considering because all the other artists were really, really awesome. So I feel no shame about that. So I encourage everybody to go into the description and check the link later on and watch the 2 hour competition as it took place because you're going to see some fantastic art from some amazing artists. Right now, I am trying to boot up my tablet so I can see the chat if anyone happens to drop in. But yeah, as you can see, I got the pencils down and I got the inking started, but the time clock was ticking and I was not able to finish it. So I'm here to finish it right now for your viewing enjoyment and entertainment. So hope you enjoy me finishing this drawing. As some of you may know, also in the description, I am also working on a comic book, a horror anthology called Secret Comics Presents, written by Nasser Rabadi. And we have about 34 days left for the campaign. And unfortunately, we are falling behind in our funding for the book. We need people to buy copies of the book in order to be able to publish it and mail it out to everyone. So we're crowdfunding the book, and we are trying to raise $6,000 by May 12th in order to do that. Like I said, I'm currently drawing it. I'm in the midst of drawing various pages like this, and here's a finished page. So as you can see, actually, I'll show you some of the pages I'm working on, just in case you've missed a lot of it. Hold on. Let me turn on YouTube on my tablet. So let's go. Sound effects. Let's see here. Go to my channel. And there we go. Yep. There we go. Let's see. All right. Hold on. More button pushing to push. Let's see. Hey, Logan Michael Anti Funko Pops. How you doing? Good seeing you. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate your support and your interest in my channel and in my art. That's one page. Here's another page that I'm currently working on. And a lot of these pages are WIPs, works in progress. So, the ink ones are pretty much done, but the penciled ones are in various stages of completion. And, I'm just going through it, trying to knock out the art as best as possible for this book, and as quickly as possible, because, like I said, the campaign ends on May the 12th, and I'm guessing I'm probably gonna have the artwork done, the drawing and inking, by the beginning of June, and after that, I have to letter it, then lay it out, and get it ready for print. So I'll probably build a printer, I'm guessing end of June, beginning of July. So those are some of the pages that I'm working on. And like I said, there are other pages that have been inked. I'm just sort of wading through it. But like I said, we are currently funding the book, and we're trying to get to a point where we can raise $6,000 in order to be able to publish it and get it to your hands. Let me show something. There we go. Here is here's where the campaign is right now. We're currently at $2,346, about 39% of our funding goal, with 34 days left. And unfortunately, that is a little less than we would like to be getting, because I've been checking this website called backertracker.com, and it tracks based on how much you've earned so far. It projects how, whether or not you're going to reach your funding goal. And right now we are, based on our funding so far, we are not going to make our $6,000 goal. So we need everybody's support to fund the book, help back it, and help us get over the $6,000 mark in the next 34 days. Because unless we can raise the $6,000, we cannot print the book, and we can't get it to the people who want to buy it, who want to read it. So I just want to encourage everybody to go over to secret-comics.com. The link is in the description. Oh, and actually, hold on. There you go. It's also scrolling down at the bottom of your screen right now. So go to that website, secret-comics.com, and choose a tier to back the book. You can buy a signed copy of the book for as little as $8. Or you can buy 2 copies and get a trading card with free shipping for only $16. There are a number of different tiers, no matter what you're able to afford. And you can purchase head sketches. You can purchase original pages like this from the comic book. You can be drawn into the comic book. There's a tier for that. There are a lot of various tiers that you good folk can use to support the book and help us get funded for printing. But even if you can't afford to do that, please share the link on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Let people know that the book exists, and that we are trying to get it made and backed. So anything you guys can do to help us would be a great help to us. So anyway, Matt Costin says, "Nice, cool. I'm glad you like it, Matt Costin." Matt Costin came in. Did you come in third? I think he came in third today, and he had a great piece for Spawn tonight. So I encourage everybody to go follow Matt Costin on. Let's see, he is on Twitter, and he's also on YouTube, although he does not live stream as much as he should. I'm going to put his YouTube link in the chat just in case, so people go follow him to encourage him to do more live streams, which he should do. So if you haven't already, go click on that link and go subscribe to Matt Costin's YouTube channel and bug him to do more live streams, because he is a great artist. He also has a book coming up soon, which will be available on Indiegogo, called Modded, and it is an alien versus human Nerf battle competition comic. It looks really cool. If you like anime style art, if you like stuff like Cowboy Bebop or any of those great animes or mangas, go subscribe to Matt Costin's YouTube channel. You will see a lot of fantastic stuff there. If you like video game art, again, subscribe to Matt Costin. You will not be disappointed. Let's see. I'm touching stuff. Hey, Yash, how you doing? Good seeing you. All right. So with that said, let me get out of here and get back to drawing Spawn. So That's why you guys are here. I'm gonna put on some music. Actually, let me turn on my fan so I don't die of heat exhaustion. Let me get my water. So uh, I can stay hydrated. Nah, good water. And let me start drawing. And let me turn on my corny music so I stay awake. um Yosh says, what do you think of Lobo? He's one of my favorite characters. Lobo's a cool, interesting character. I mean, he can be done in so many different ways. I mean, I prefer I guess, the more over the top Lobo. But he's an interesting character. He's been done a lot of neat ways. So he's not one of my favorite characters. I mean, it's just I think he's a better comedic character than a serious character. I don't really take him seriously. So let's see. I see. Matt Costa says Simon Bodley. I think he means Simon Bisley. You like Thanos? I find Thanos boring. I think Thanos is the cheap knockoff of Darkseid, who I think is a much better character. So that's just my opinion. Let's see. I'm trying to get to Google so I can see what Spawn's costume looks like. I know it varies based on who's drawing it and what Spawn wants to do, but it's been so long since I've drawn him that I don't really know what he looks like. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking at what the. Okay, I'm just gonna make stuff up because I can't really tell from this what he's supposed to look like. All right. Okay, there, and there, and then like that. And hopefully all this is on screen and I'm not just drawing. Yeah, no, you can see it. Okay, cool. Matt Costa says, love this Spawn piece. Oh, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. Yash says, Lobo's unique. They ruined him recently, made him look like a Twilight movie character. Yeah, that was a New 52, wasn't it? When they made him look like a wuss, like some sort of metrosexual doofus. It was terrible. But he had a long run of being awesome. Yeah. I mean, especially the Simon Bisley run of Lobo that Matt mentioned. Very cool stuff. Matt Costa says, "Great pose." Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's the hardest part for me whenever we do drawn in quarter. It's like trying to think of or come up with like an interesting pose because I need to work on that. I need to practice my poses, and I feel I don't know. I don't know. I know why I do it. I always bring up Matthew Weldon because he's so good at coming up with interesting poses, at least to my mind. And that's a skill that I need to I need to acquire. I need to steal. I need to steal it from him. I mean, because I've been reading comic books most of my life, so a lot of the poses when I draw them or when I think of them, they tend to be sort of generic poses, and I need to be more original in my thinking. I mean, this isn't, it's not that original. I mean, it's just, you know, but it looks cool, kind of. So I just need to work on my posing. Hey, P Money, how you doing? Good seeing you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying corona free. Hope Ruth is doing good. You both are in very good health. Yash says, yes, Bisley and Lobo Unbound has amazing painted looking art. Not sure if it was actually painted. I'm pretty sure it was painted. I mean, that was done in what, the 90s? I'm 99.9% sure that was actually painted then. Because computer, I mean, they had computer art, but I mean, nothing that I'm pretty sure that was painted. Huh. You know who would have completely, I don't know if Matt Costin's still in here, but he would have really killed this competition tonight. I'm glad he wasn't there. if only to save myself the further embarrassment of being compared to his work. Oh my gosh, my brain just died. Kanan White. If Kanan White had done the Spawn competition tonight, I would have started crying out of shame of how inferior my art was compared to his. If you guys don't know who Kanan White is, does he have a YouTube channel? I think he does. Just type in Kanan White, Canaan White, Canaan White. I think that's how you spell it. I know he has 3 N's in Canaan. So, but the guy's a phenomenal artist, and he draws so fast. He draws completed artwork that looks like it took something that would take me probably 2 days to do. He does in 2 hours. It's insane. P. says, yeah, Corona hasn't hit small town Canada, so we're good. In fact, we're building an indoor fort for the kids. Oh, neat. That's great. P. Money. Matt Costin says, yeah, Kanan is legit. He is. I wish I could describe how good of an artist he is, and it's just something you have to see to believe. I mean, I wouldn't have believed it unless I'd seen him drawing live several times. Just how fast he is. And with so much detail. That's what kills me. I mean, he doesn't just draw fast. He does it with so much detail that's just beautiful to look at. It's just, it's amazing. So he is what I would call an artist's artist. Just very, very skilled. So I'm going to try not to take 20 hours to finish this because I do need to get to bed at some point. But I'm also thankful that I no longer have a 2-hour time limit to finish this. I have a little more leeway to complete this more than the 2 hours we were allotted earlier tonight. P. Mike says, I bought brand 90% because it comes with Kanan's signature. Yeah, Kanan is a phenomenal artist. Yash says, I bought a bunch of my I sold a bunch of my board games and pre-ordered a ridiculously big and awesome Lobo statue from Sideshow. But it's actually made by Prime One. It's 38 inches and 48 pounds. Wow, my first statue ever. Wow. Huh. What board games do you have? I didn't know that you sold board games. Did board games sell? I mean, was it like Monopoly? You sold your old Monopoly set, or was it Sorry, or I don't know, Operation? That's what I think of when I think of board games. So, Connect Four, Candyland. But yeah, that's a big statue. 48 pounds. Dang. Wow. Yeah, I've never not toys, but I guess you include toys, but toys and statues never appeal to me. And I think it's just because of how much space they take up. I'm just I just never could see myself, because I enjoy reading books and comic books so much that space taken up by anything else, I'm just thinking it's like, man, I could have used that for like a comic book box. Or it's like, oh man, I could have put another bookshelf there. So I'm always thinking in terms of like what I could have used that space for. Yash says no, expensive Kickstarter board games with fancy miniatures, dungeon crawler board games. Okay, cool. I've never heard of dungeon crawler, but that's cool. All right. Hey, Curious 2A, how you doing? P. says, I told Ruth Cricket actually drew a Spawn comic. She joked saying, is he to blame for the terrible movie? I'm not to blame. It's not my fault. Although I do really like Michael J. White. I thought he was a great martial artist, and I enjoy watching his action movies. He's a decent actor too. But yeah, Spawn movie was not that good. I felt bad watching it in the theaters, just mentally criticizing, especially the bad. So, some of the CGI was okay. CGI that was like on Earth, like in the shadows and stuff. When you had the Violator in alleyways and stuff. I mean, CGI works well with a lot of shadow. But whenever they did the scenes in hell, it was just horrible. I mean, it was embarrassing to look at. It was so bad, and I felt bad for Todd McFarlane watching the movie because I mean the character deserved better than that. Actually, everybody involved in the movie deserved better than that. John Leguizamo, he deserved better than that. Todd McFarlane deserved better than that. Everybody did. It was just a weak movie. All right. Hmm. P-Money says, I wasn't really into Spawn, but I had to get those 4 issues that had Moore, Miller, Sim, and Gaiman. Yeah, the beginning, first 10 issues or so. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really into Spawn either. But I am grateful that I did get a chance to draw them. But personally, I was much more into like Wildcats, and yeah, Wildcats was pretty much the only Image comic I was really interested in. The others just didn't. I don't know. This didn't appeal to me. I mean, and I liked McFarlane on Spider-Man. I thought he was really cool on that. But I don't know. Spawn just didn't. What was it? I think I may have found him kind of boring. I didn't find him all that interesting. Yeah. And Tom McFarlane isn't really a comic book writer. I mean, he's much more of an artist. I mean, his comic writing is pretty weak. If you've read his Spider-Man comic or the first couple of issues of Spawn, they're not that great. I mean, that's why he hired, obviously, actual writers like Gaiman and Alan Moore to work on his book, which was smart because they did a good job on the issues they worked on. This is a tedious part, doing the chains. But I'm just doing my standard shortcut for chains, which is basically just drawing a series of rectangles and then drawing little smaller rectangles in between them, skinnier rectangles for the links. It's good enough. It was good enough 25 years ago, so I figure it's still good enough to do it now. How did you get involved with McFarlane Studios? Asked P-Money. Well, back in the 90s and early 2000s, after I graduated from college, I wanted to get into comic books, so I would mail out samples to all the companies, several times a year, and I would also go to conventions in my area. Even ones that weren't in my area. I mean, I think the furthest I went was I went to Dragon Con up in Atlanta a few times, which is like a 12-hour, not 12 hours, it's like a 9 or 10-hour drive from where I live. And I would meet editors and writers and artists there to show them my portfolio. Tom McFarlane was at a show in Miami, and so I wanted to show him my work because Image had just started up, and I wanted to get some work. So went down there. A friend of mine drove. He wanted to go to the convention too, and so I got there, got to McFarlane's line to to show him my stuff, and the line, of course, was humongous. It was really long because he was like the biggest star of the moment because Image had just started up, and so I was waiting in line for like an hour and a half or so, waiting to see him. My friend walks up to me, finds me in line, and he says, "Yeah, okay, I'm bored. I want to go home." I was like, "What?" It's like the whole reason I came down here was to meet McFarlane and show him my portfolio, and he didn't care. He wanted to go home, and so fortunately, I had made photocopies of my portfolio because whenever I meet someone, I want to leave them a copy of my portfolio for them to look at and take home with them, or whatever, show other people. So I, because I was forced to leave by my friend, I gave a copy of my portfolio, the sequential art pages that I had with me, to the guy behind me in line, and asked him to please show this to Todd McFarlane. They had all my contact info on the top. And so I went home, half convinced that this guy who was also trying to get work wouldn't show McFarlane my photocopies. So I went home, and then that night, around 5 or 6 or whatever, the phone rings, and this guy, my mom answers, and she said, says someone's on the phone for me. I pick up the phone, and this guy says in like a really reedy voice, "Hi, this is Todd McFarlane." I didn't believe him at first. I thought it was one of my friends goofing around because his voice sounded so strange. If you don't know what a reedy voice is like a kind of high pitched. It's like normally you would think like he'd say, "Hi, my name is Todd McFarlane," but his voice sounded like this: "Hi, my name's Todd McFarlane," and it's like it's kind of like high pitched. Like I'm trying to think of the word. It's reedy. That's the term. But it just sounded odd to me because I knew what McFarlane looked like, and it didn't sound like a voice that would come from that face. So I thought it was one of my friends goofing around, and he finally convinced me that it was actually him. And so he asked me if I was interested in drawing a book for him for one of his toys. I said, yeah, sure. And so that's how I got involved with McFarlane Studios. And I think I had a 14-day time limit. They sent me the script. They emailed me the script, I believe, or maybe they mailed it to me. And I had 14 days to finish it and FedEx it back to them. And I was working full time at that time, and so I had to ask my boss, or rather the guy who I worked for a clothing design company. I had to ask the art director if I could have I think like 2 weeks off so I can finish the book. And fortunately, he was a comic book fan, and so he knew who Todd McFarlane was, and he allowed me to take 14 days off without firing me. So that was the only way I was going to get that book done, because there's no way I could have done. It was 12 pages. There's no way I could have gotten 12 pages done in 14 days. Working full time and then doing it when I got home from work. It was just too much. But no, it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed doing it, and I was very sad when they never asked me to do anything else for them. And I contacted McFarlane afterwards, just like, yeah, I'm still, if you have anything else, I'm available for work. But yeah, just never panned out. But I at least I can say I work for Todd McFarlane. I have that on my personal resume. So I have no regrets. It was very cool. It was very cool. I mean, even today, I'm just like, oh man, cool. You drew Spawn. You drew a Spawn comic book for Todd McFarlane. I mean, that was pretty cool. And who knows? Maybe he'll call me again. Maybe one day he will find my portfolio sitting in his files one day and say, "Oh yeah, I remember that guy. That was a guy who drew my Spawn Alley comic book. I wonder what he's doing. I'll give him a call, see if he wants to draw a whole new series starring Spawn." And that would be awesome. In case you're listening, Todd, I would be happy to draw your new Spawn comic book. Just call me. just contact me at the links below in the description. Contact me on Twitter or Facebook. Why don't you just constantly apply it DC and Marvel? Asked Yush. Because DC and Marvel no longer gets artists that way. DC and Marvel, I mean, you know what's going on with DC and Marvel. One DC and Marvel at this point, it's questionable whether or not there's still going to be a viable comic book company in a year. But regardless of that, over the past decade, they've been very kind of political in terms of who they hire and stuff. And they go through people's social media. They find out what they believe, what they think, and they tend to hire people who share the same viewpoints, the same. I'm just talking about in terms of politics nowadays. It's not they're not companies that necessarily hire based on merit. They hire based on their personal opinions. You know, they hire artists from what is it, Tumblr. I mean, the artists they hire aren't necessarily hired because of the best artists. They hire for other reasons. So I stopped applying for work at comic book companies probably around 2005 because it's just a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of sweat and effort for very little results. I mean, you have countless people applying for work at those companies, and especially now with social media, you're competing against other artists from other countries where the cost of living is so low that Marvel and DC can hire great artists for very little money, and American artists just can't compete because we have to, everything we buy, from food to clothing to rent, is so much more than it would be in, say, South America or you know, Asia somewhere. So it's extremely hard for, and it's even harder now, I would think, for American artists to break into mainstream comics. Yush says, "Oh, they'll survive, guaranteed." I would not agree with that. I mean, there's talk of like Marvel and DC outsourcing their characters to other companies to have them made there, because Marvel and DC, I mean, they're owned by conglomerates that basically the only purpose they serve right now, the comics don't make any money. The only purpose Marvel and DC serve right now are as IP farms for those media companies to take advantage of and use those characters for film and television. That's where the money is. I mean, the comic book for Captain Marvel failed several times over the past decade. You know, because they ruined the character and the writing's terrible. But you make a movie about Captain Marvel and it made over $1 billion. So, you know, Disney couldn't care less about a Captain Marvel comic book. You know, they'll let it burn. They'll let the whole Marvel Comics division fall apart. They don't care because they own those characters. They don't need a Spider-Man comic book out there. All they need is the character Spider-Man, and they can make movies, cartoons, video games about them, and, you know, rake in billions of dollars doing so. So the comic books are just basically monthly advertising for everything else that they put out. Yes, yes, but yeah, that sucks if they're so ridiculously judgmental because of politics. Yeah, it does suck, and that's a big reason why the comic books have failed, or not failed, but they've lost sales, and have been sort of collapsing over the past decade. You know, when you insult half of your customers and their political and, you know, religious and personal beliefs, then, you know, you're going to lose those customers over time. You can't do that. And you know, the mainstream comic book industry has been very foolish in terms of their customer relations. It's like, you know, stick to making great escapist entertainment for people. Okay, leave politics out of it, because people read comic books, people go to movies, people, you know, support entertainment to be entertained. They don't do it to you know, to be insulted. It's supposed to be escapism, not a platform for the creators of that entertainment to push their personal and political beliefs onto customers. P1 says, seeing Tongo crowdfunding feels good because more creators will realize that's how they'll survive. Yeah, I hope so. But Todd McFarlane is extremely special case. I mean, it's he has a lot. He has a lot of street cred that enables him to do that. I mean, if you look at the other image creators, you know, who were just as big as McFarlane at the time, I don't think any of them could have pulled this off. I mean, I don't think Jim Lee could have. If Jim Lee tried to do that, he would have. I mean, how much has he pulled in so far with his new crowdfunding campaign that just started today? He's pulled in over $500,000 in like 5 hours or something. I mean, that's insane. You think Rob Liefeld could have done that? Rob Liefeld hasn't fulfilled his previous crowdfunding campaigns. I mean, it's just Tom McFarlane is easily the best businessman that's come out of Image. He's easily the most successful one. He's just a really, really smart guy. I mean, the others have done, you know, fairly well, but I mean, in comparison, I mean, they're flopping around like half dead fish compared to McFarlane. And that, I mean, I don't mean to denigrate any of the other Image founders, but McFarlane is very much in a league of his own. P. says, yeah, I forgot about Rob Liefeld crowdfunding. That was a big fail. Sorry to say. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with crowdfunding. It's like, it doesn't matter how well known you are. If you can't fulfill your campaign, you know, fame doesn't mean diddly squat. And you know, you know, we're kind of seeing that right now with the Brightwisers. I mean, I know they're going to fulfill their campaign. It's just that their campaign is over a year late, and the deal with Walmart has soured a lot of people on the whole Red Rooster thing. But so it doesn't matter that they're well-known comic creators. What fans and customers care about is, okay, you're well known, but can you fulfill your campaign? I mean, that's why I signed up with Nasser for the comic book that we're crowdfunding, Secret Comics Presents. Nasser is a 22-year-old unknown who has already fulfilled 2 comic book campaigns on crowdfunding them on Indiegogo. Okay, so he's done more with having 0 notoriety or fame. And you know, you have these guys who have been in the industry for decades who can't even fulfill 1 campaign. No, you know, so I have much more confidence in someone like Nasser than I do in someone like Rob Liefeld in terms when it comes to fulfilling a crowdfunding campaign. So that's why everyone should back our book, because Nasser delivers. And I can draw. So you put that combination together, you're going to come up with a really cool comic book. So go to the link below if you haven't already. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, Illustration by Design, and hit the bell for notifications for future videos. I try to live stream several times a week, drawing the comic book I'm working on with Nasser. And you can just watch me get through the pages 1 pencil stroke at a time. And you can interact with me, tell me how badly I'm doing, laugh at my drawing, and otherwise entertain yourself as I scribble. And I also hope that everybody, when you have a chance, please hit that thumbs up button. Give this live stream a like. I would greatly appreciate it. Hmm. Now I'm the type of artist that cannot just sort of ink on the fly. I kind of have to lay everything out pretty tightly in pencils first. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I sort of know what I want to do once I start inking. All right. All right. P. says, yeah, I don't like bringing up late crowdfunding. I have at least 15 late Indiegogo comics I'm still waiting for, and I'm patient, but others are not. Yeah, I mean, I generally don't bring it up. It's just that well, one, it is over a year late, but also it's a good example of how being an established creator doesn't guarantee that that you what you're purchasing will be delivered. Um, you hope it will be because they obviously have experience creating comic books, but creating a comic book and doing the business side of delivering that comic book to customers' hands are two very different skill sets. And while they may be great at one, they may be very weak or completely unknowledgeable about the other. And it's important for crowdfunding that you be able to accomplish both. You can't be a great artist and a great writer and not deliver on your book. Yash says, yeah, there was an established comic book company that couldn't fulfill a highly funded board game Kickstarter they ran. Rumor has it they went into hiding afterwards. That would not surprise me. And every time that a crowdfunding fails, it hurts that genre of whatever it was crowdfunding. I mean, if a comic book crowdfunder fails, it just makes people that less likely to back future comic book crowdfunding campaigns. So it's important that if you're all of us, no matter who you are, whether you're a pro at this, whether this is your first time crowdfunding or whatnot, that you deliver on what you're promising, because you're not only your own reputation is at stake, but the reputation of sort of the whole crowdfunding industry and the people who participate in it are at stake. Because it only takes one bad experience to turn people off of crowdfunding completely. And we need people to support our campaigns in order for us to accomplish what we want to do. I mean, if we could do it on our own, we wouldn't be crowdfunding. I mean, if Nasser and I could have could publish this book on our own, we do it. But that's the thing. We can't do it. We cannot do this without your support, without the support of backers. So like I said earlier, right now, based on we're projected not to reach our goal right now, just based on the amount of backing we've gotten. So we that's why. Yeah, I sound like a broken record and probably annoying, but I just have to continue to let people know, and in a sense, ask them, implore them to back the campaign, because we are dependent on the backers to reach our $6,000 goal. And yep, those are just the facts. P. says, I do wish people would stop creating a second campaign until the first is fulfilled. Yeah, I feel that way too. I don't. I generally do not back second campaigns unless the first one is fulfilled. I did do it with the Brightwisers when they had their Allegiance Arts campaign back in, I think it was late fall, early winter, where they offered 3 comic books for, I think it was $25. Bass Reeves, Norris Saga, and the was it called the Futurans or the Futurists? The Futurists. And I got them. I got all 3 books on time. I got them, what, a month and a half ago or so? Great books. I'm glad I backed it. I'm very happy I backed it. I'm still waiting on the initial campaign that I backed with the Brightwisers, but you know, in general though, I don't back campaigns unless I've received the first one. So because I want to, you know, like I said, if you're a great artist, that's fine. If you're a great writer, that's fine. But I want to see that you can fulfill your campaign. I want to know that you're actually going to fulfill the promises that you've made to me and all the other supporters. So, and Nasser and I are going to do our dangdest. Is that a word? Our dangdest to fulfill this campaign ahead of time. Nasser has provided ourselves a very generous sort of time frame to get this comic into people's hands. So I think he projected that we'll have the book fulfilled by March of 2021, and I am very sure that we will have it done before that, or have it printed, delivered to your hands before that time. Our goal is to surpass expectations. So. Let's see. Yash says usually the creators are failing to deliver board game Kickstarters go into hiding afterwards. Well, I guess depending on how much money they make, they can afford to do so. But what they do, they buy a private island and then just disappear off the face of the earth like James Bond villains. That's what it sounds like. Curious 2A says, how much time do you have left? I definitely want my kick Nasser button, but I have to be very careful until I can start working again. Oh, you know, I understand. I completely understand. We have until May 12th. That's when the campaign ends, and we will not be going into in demand. Once the campaign ends on May 12th, that's it. After that, we're going to focus completely on getting the book ready to go to print, me finishing the artwork and then lettering and then laying out the book and prepping it for the printer. So May 12th is the dead last day to back the book. But I hope you guys, if you're able to, I hope you guys back the book before then, because like I said earlier, it's like a domino effect. If people see that the book is being backed and supported, they're much more inclined to back the book themselves. If they don't see any movement in the campaign, you know, if it stays at its current level, you know, for 2 days or 3 days or a week, they figure the campaign is not going to reach fulfillment, and so they won't back it. So we need everybody to just go in and back the book, buy a copy, buy 2 copies, buy some artwork, original artwork, whether it's a head sketch or original page, just do it whenever you're able to. So guess who Stan Lee's favorite character was? I have no idea. All of them? Spider-Man? I don't know, honestly. I never thought about that. His favorite character. Maybe what was the mailman's name for the Fantastic Four? Actually, I think Stan Lee did play him in the Fantastic Four movie. But no, I don't know who Stan Lee's favorite character was. Hmm. Lobo. I don't know. I don't know if you're joking. I have a feeling that you're joking. I don't see Lobo as being Stan Lee's favorite character. He said he wished he created him. Or maybe he wished he created them, but I don't know if that was his favorite character. P. says, don't want to jinx you, but for same reason, Secret Comics wasn't fulfilled. Oh, okay. Sorry. Hold on. Don't want to jinx you, but if for some reason, some strange reason, Secret Comics wasn't fulfilled, I hope that you would be open for me to just use my backing money and PayPal you for the head sketch. So that's fine. That's fine, P. Yeah, I would be happy to do a head sketch for you, or rather, I'd be happy to do a head sketch for Ruth. I don't know about you, but I do one for Ruth. No, it's no problem. But I'm hoping that things will work out so you will get both a head sketch and a copy of the comic book. That's what I'm aiming for. That's why I'm going to keep on bugging people to back the book, support it, and share the link to all their friends so that everybody can get a copy of the book. I think that would be very cool. Everybody says, yes, I would love to have a comic with your art in it. So would I. I would love to have a comic with my art in it as well. Then maybe my mom would stop asking me when I'm going to get a real job. I have a real job, Mom. See? It's right here in this comic book. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Pen, pen, pen. Which pen should I use? I'll use this one. It's thick, but not too thick. Zimbo Yash says, if a real job means sitting in a cubicle all day, I don't want a real job either. I don't mind sitting in a cubicle all day as long as I get to do what I want. I mean, if I had a job sitting in a cubicle all day where I was drawing comic books, I'd be perfectly happy with that. What you don't want is a job that you hate, regardless of whether it's in a cubicle or not. You want a job where you're doing what you enjoy. So it doesn't seem like work, but you still get paid. So that is that is my goal. I want to make lots of money doing what I love to do, which is draw. Drawing for no money is okay, but I much prefer to make a lot of money drawing compared to making no money. I mean, oops, skipped one. P. says, don't tell Nasser I already have Nasser's writing with his book and autograph. So between you and me, Secret Comics is all about the artist. Thanks. Well, for me, Secret Comics is all about the artist as well. Yash says, I mean like an Office Space job, but you didn't see Office Space. I have not seen Office Space. There's so many movies and TV shows I haven't seen that everyone else has seen. And it's like, oh, yeah. It's like, have you seen it? No, I haven't seen it. Sorry. And part of me feels bad. Another part of me is like, I survived this long without seeing it. I'm sure I'll survive a little longer. I'd probably watch it if it ended up on TV, but they never show it on TV. Meanwhile, they show Harry Potter like every 15 minutes. It's like, hey, look, it's another Harry Potter marathon. I think I saw this movie about 200 times at this point. Hey, people are watching. Very cool. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Share the live stream out to your friends on Facebook and Twitter. Let them know that I'm drawing Spawn. Slowly but surely, I'm getting there. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for notifications. And make sure that when you hit the bell, the notifications are set for all. Because if they're not, then you will not get all of the notifications. P-Money says, I have to be honest, when I first heard your real name, I thought it was James Robinson. I went, the guy who created Jack Knight? No, I did not create Starman, although that would have been cool as well. But yeah, James Robinson was the writer who created the latest Starman, I think. I mean, at least the Starman that I'm last familiar with, which was a great comic book back in the 1990s. Trying to remember who was the artist. It was Tony. Artist was Tony something. Great artist, very interesting artwork. Love the book. And I think James Robinson also, did he write Leave It to Chance, which is another comic book that was drawn, maybe, I don't know if it was, I can't remember if he, Tony Harris. Thank you very much, P-Money. Tony Harris. But yeah, really good writer. But yeah, I did not create Starman. What's the difference between an anti-hero and a villain? Well, anti-hero is usually someone who does well, anti-hero, I guess in my mind, is someone who does the right things for the wrong reason, or someone who uses less than heroic means for heroic ends, whether it's intentional or not. I guess that would be my definition of an anti-hero. So Lobo would be an anti-hero. He's a bad guy sometimes, but he's someone who you generally, and whoever he's fighting is much worse than him. So you're rooting for him, even though he's ripping people's guts out and stuff, as opposed to someone like, I don't know, the Joker, who the Joker you're never rooting for because he's not doing anything good. He's just hurting innocent people. Lobo in general, he doesn't try to hurt innocent people. I mean, if innocent people are hurt in the process, he doesn't waste too much time crying over it. But his goal is to fight someone else, someone worse than him. P. says, I would never consider Lobo as anything other than a villain, considering he massacred his home planet. But his home planet was filled with people just as bad as him. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, if Lobo had, I don't know. I think it just depends on how he's written. Lobo could be written as like a villain. If he's killing planets of Smurfs and stuff. But then whenever he does something like that, they make it so funny that you still end up rooting for him, because he's killing like Teletubbies and stuff. So you find that funny. When he's torturing the Easter Bunny, right before he fights Santa Claus. I mean, that's kind of funny. So you still see him. He's a bad guy, but he's a bad guy that makes you laugh. But then the Joker makes people laugh, but you're not laughing with the Joker. I mean, it's just I don't know. It's hard to explain. Let's put it this way: if Lobo landed in New York City and started ripping people's heads off for no reason, he would not be an anti-hero. He'd just be a villain. Like Doomsday. And as far as I know, he has not done something like that yet. That could probably change, but he tried to kill Superman in the animated series. Yeah, but that doesn't make him a villain to my mind. I mean, it still makes him an anti-hero. It's like what's his name? The keep wanting to say the Terminator. It's Deathstroke, the Terminator, like Deathstroke. He's a villain, but he's a villain with standards, and so he's both a villain and an anti-hero. He can be written both ways, So, I mean, you don't see Deathstroke blowing up school buses filled with children just for the kicks. The Joker would do that, just for the laughs. The Joker would kill Lois Lane and Superman's unborn baby just for fun. But I don't really see Lobo doing that. Or Deathstroke. Doomsday is a boss. Wish he'd kill Superman permanently. Doomsday, I find Doomsday to be one of the most boring characters ever made, because the entire purpose of his creation by DC Comics was just to kill Superman. He didn't have any story behind him. I mean, they made something up after the fact, but it was just a lame excuse. What's the term they use? I can't think of it. MacGuffin? Is that it? I don't know. Deus Ex Machina. I mean, it was just a means to an end. Plot device? Yeah, plot device. But there's a certain term for that type of plot device where it's just used for a particular purpose. I just can't remember what it is. Juggernaut is a very interesting villain. I like him. I like Juggernaut. I find him much more interesting than Doomsday. At least he has a backstory. There's a reason behind why he does what he does. And there's an actual connection between him and the X-Men. Speaking of the Easter Bunny, my daughter said today, is the Easter Bunny not giving eggs because of Corona? We said, that's why he does it while you sleep, so he social distances. That's awesome. Yeah. Very clever, P Money. Very clever. Very clever, Mr. Bond. He should have smashed Spider-Man. I don't think Juggernaut could smash Spider-Man. Spider-Man's too fast for him. Spider-Man would just jump out of the way. Juggernaut versus Hulk, who wins? I don't know, honestly. I mean, the way they write Hulk now is like, yo, if he gets angry enough, nothing can stop him. Which I find to be stupid. Realistically, I would say Juggernaut should beat the Hulk, but again, the way they write these characters, they make them into basically into Mary Sue's, where nothing can beat them, and you write the Hulk as being so unstoppable that even a mystical force like the Juggernaut, who is unstoppable, can't stop him. Then, I don't know. Hey, P Money. He says he's off to bed now. Have a great night. Thank you very much, P Money. You too. And give my best to Ruth. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. I will see you later. Time is it? It is 2:48 right now. That's Eastern Standard Time. Has Juggernaut ever been in a movie? Yash, you haven't seen the X-Men movies? Yes, he's been in a movie. He was in which one was that? It was was it Days of Future Past that he was in? No, he wasn't. No, it wasn't that one. It was it X-Men Days of Future Past? It may have been. No, I'm wrong. No, he was in X-Men 3. Juggernaut was in X-Men 3. Oh yeah, he was in Deadpool 2 as well. Yeah. But an actual actor played the Juggernaut in X-Men 3. It was Vinny. What's his name? He was in a bunch of those movies like Snatch and those Guy Ritchie movies. He was in a bunch of those back in the 90s. That guy played the Juggernaut in X3, and then they had a CGI Juggernaut fighting Colossus and ripping Deadpool in half in Deadpool 2. So yeah, Juggernaut's been in a couple of X-Men movies. Now, my idea originally was to have him sort of powering up his fist here, but I don't know if that is still feasible. I don't know. Again, I get an idea in my head of how something should look, and then as I draw it, I try to. I hope that I can replicate it when I draw it, but I don't know. I don't know. Yash says, I want Superman to be permanently killed off. He annoys me for some reason. Most annoying character. He's just so generic and trite. Well, it's just that he's so iconic that everyone's copied him, and that's why he seems generic and trite and trite. Um, but yeah, they're never going to kill off Superman because he makes too much money. He's the most valuable comic book IP on the planet. You know, they'll keep using him till he no longer brings in billions of dollars in underoos and pajamas and blankets, book bags, coloring books, and everything else. Oops. All right. Um, Yash says no. Batman is most valuable. Spider-Man too. I no. I disagree. Superman is the most well-known character on the planet. I mean, people in Zimbabwe know who Superman is. And he's on everything. Everything that Batman's on, Superman's on, and then there's more stuff that Superman's on that Batman is not on. I mean, Batman's very popular in the United States and in a lot of a lot of the Western world, but throughout the rest of the world, Superman is king. I mean, you have Indian movies that are ripped off of Superman. You don't have any. I mean, you don't have that sort of stuff with Batman. You're like everywhere you go on the planet. Huh. All right. I think what I'll do is I'll just I don't know what will I do. Dag nabbit. Um. mm, think. Um. I'm gonna white this stuff I inked out. I'm gonna white out this stuff I inked in this area inside the circle, and then go from there. Yash says, maybe so, but just the name Superman is so stupid too. Sounds like it took 1 second to think up. Well, it probably took less than that because the term Superman was a well-known term back in the 30s. Yeah, it came from Nietzsche about like the Superman, someone who is you know larger than life. Superman has been used a lot in fiction before the character was created. Like that character that I really like, Doc Savage. he used to be called the Superman in his advertising back in the 30s, early 30s. You know, he's called the Superman of the modern age, Doc Savage. You know, and Superman ripped off a lot of stuff from Doc Savage. Like Doc Savage was called the Man of Bronze. Superman was called the Man of Steel. Doc Savage's first name is Clark. So was Superman's. And Superman got his last name, Kent, from the first name of the Shadow, Kent Allard. So, I mean, Doc Savage had a Fortress of Solitude in the North Pole, which was his secret headquarters. Superman ripped that off. I mean, Superman is basically a knockoff of several different characters, but they were smart enough to include all those elements into one character and make him fly, which made him very cool. So that's what has made Superman stand out from all of his predecessors. Curious 2A says, have you seen the Soviet statue that someone painted as DC and Marvel heroes? I thought that's funny. Curious 2A says, I thought Superman came from Hitler. Well, Hitler, the whole idea with Hitler about the Übermensch, which is basically German for Superman, comes from Nietzsche, who was a philosopher. So the term Superman comes originally from Nietzsche. I think he was the late 1800s, maybe early 20th century philosopher. And then from his using the term Übermensch, which means Superman, that's how Superman came into the common vernacular of a character, an ideal human that's superior to modern man, the Superman. And then once Hitler came into power, started his stuff, then he took that ideal and tried to usurp it for his Third Reich. So that's how that went. But no, Hitler did not come up with Superman. I'll bet he wished he had, but no, Superman was a concept that predated Hitler. Yush says Silver Surfer flies, but on a surfboard. Silver Surfer is far more interesting. Superman is far more interesting character than Super Dork. Yes, he is. He's a very cool character. I'm just saying that Superman was the he was the first of the whole superhero genre, in a sense. When I say superhero, I mean someone who dresses up in tights and in comic books. You had characters before Superman who did that sort of stuff. You had Zorro, you had the Scarlet Pimpernel. You know, they dressed up in various disguises to accomplish their goals. You have the Shadow, but Superman was the first one who had sort of he sort of combined a lot of elements, like I said, of other characters. He had superpowers or extra human powers that allowed him to do things. He wore a distinctive costume, and he had a secret identity. And as far as I know, he's the first character like that in comic books who combine all three of those elements. And so he became very popular with kids who were the main consumers of comic books back in the 30s and 40s. So it worked out. It was a gold mine, and you know, it's sad that his creators, Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel, they sold the rights to Superman for $100 to DC Comics back in '38, just because they wanted the character to be published so badly, and I guess they wanted the money so badly they're willing to sell it away for peanuts. And it's sad. It's unfortunate. It's a lesson that comic book creators have been learning. You know, it's been an object lesson for comic book creators ever since. You know, do not give away your intellectual properties, and don't sell them short. because you never know what you have. Yash says, it's my dream that Galactus just shows up and eats Superman. We never see Superman again. Don't worry, you will. You know, he would eat him, and then like they'd spend a year on subpar comic books called, the digestion of Superman. And, it'd be various heroes trying to feed Galactus Pepto-Bismol and other things. And then at the end of the miniseries, Superman would be coughed up by Galactus, and DC would be raking in millions of dollars from suckers who bought the series. That's another reason why I stopped buying a lot of these books. It's like they're so obviously money grabs, to get people to buy the books rather than actual good stories, that are thought out or well planned. It's like I have no interest in wasting my money and my time on books like that. It's like I just can't buy a story that's called The Death of Superman, because I know it will never happen. He's just too valuable for the companies that owns the character. All right. Curious 2S says Superman in the belly of the beast. Yes. What would be cool if Galactus ate him? Okay, if Galactus encountered Superman and Galactus ate him, I would make the story that Galactus eats him, and then Superman ends up in a parallel dimension. Galactus is a portal to another universe, and so Superman will spend the next 12 months in another universe and dealing with that situation. That would be interesting to me. But if it's just an excuse to stop writing Superman stories for a year, like with the Death of Superman back in the 90s, and then write about other characters, it's like I have no interest in that. I mean, to me, that's just lazy writing. Of course, I'm not a writer myself, so it may be easier for me to say that, but as a consumer, it smacks of lazy writing. Yash says the whole story of Silver Surfer and Galactus is very interesting stuff. Yeah, it is. I mean, it just depends on what they're writing. I don't find Galactus that interesting either. I think he's kind of a boring plot device, as P Money mentioned. Yeah, it really depends on the writer. I mean, you can take a boring character, a character I view as boring, and make him very interesting. Or you can take an interesting character and make them boring. It, it's it's just completely dependent on who's behind the typewriter or keyboard. Maybe that's better nowadays. Anyone use typewriters anymore? I don't think so. Sorry, I'm sort of inking off camera a little because I'm trying to get to the edge of the page, and I need to swipe my brush pen off the edge of the page. Let's see. Zimbo says, I think if Marvel and DC stop making comic books, someone else will buy the rights to make them and give Marvel and DC royalties, kind of like what happened with Twinkies. Yeah, that's exactly what they're talking about doing. They're talking about other comic book companies or other publishers taking the intellectual properties, the characters from Marvel and DC, and making books based on them, and then Marvel and DC get a cut from that. So, whether it happens or not, I don't know. I mean, a lot of things have changed in the last month just because of the coronavirus thing, and DC has stopped publishing books for the time being. Their distributor for Marvel and DC, Diamond Comics, has stopped sending out comic books for the time being, and comic book shops around the country are struggling because they usually live hand to mouth, month to month, and right now they have no income. So a lot of comic book stores will be shutting down permanently in the next 6 months, 8 months, a year. And it's completely up in the air depending on what happens with this virus, the stay-at-home orders, essential businesses orders. We don't know. So things will be changing. Victor says, I want a belt like that. I'm sure they're out there somewhere. Check eBay. You might be able to find a belt just like this. Did my pen run out of ink? I hope not. No, it's still good. It's still good. It's just I talk a little while without drawing. It tends to dry out a little. One day I will be able to draw a complete piece of artwork like this in under 2 hours. One day. Still working on it. Victor says, where did you find this playlist? Found it on YouTube, and it's various songs from various artists that are copyright free, so my channel doesn't get struck. But if you look in the description of this live stream, there are a number of artists that the music is from, and they provide copyright-free music for YouTube videos, so you can play their music and not get into trouble with the YouTube police. But yeah, all this is music I found on YouTube, copyright-free, and I do like it quite a bit. I find it very relaxing when I draw. Why didn't you reference Spawn's Stitch Face from the Kickstarter? Looks like you had trouble with the head. Stitch Face? What's Stitch Face? I don't understand. His Stitch face? Are you talking about? I know at one point he had like I think it was from Batman Spawn when Batman threw a batarang through his face. Is that what you're talking about? Looks like you had trouble with the head. I don't understand. This head? What do you? Please, you have to clarify. Had trouble with the head. I'm not understanding what you are saying. Alternate heads on the Kickstarter toy. I have. Are you talking about his current Kickstarter? I haven't even. I just heard about that today. I don't know what he's selling or what it looks like. So, I'm just this drawing is sort of based on what I found on Google when I typed in Spawn. So it's not supposed to be any particular Spawn or any particular version. So it says, yeah, you didn't copy off anything, huh? Well, I looked on YouTube, not YouTube, but Google for images of Spawn because I haven't drawn or even looked at the character in 25 years. So I need a reference for pretty much everything. So I mean, I don't think he's changed. Has he changed since the 90s? I thought he was pretty much the same. If he's changed, then this drawing probably does not look like whatever he looks like now. He looks the same. Okay, cool. That's good. Victor says, I love the skulls though. Okay, cool. Good. Curious 2A says, apparently there is a shoestring head. I think that's what he's talking about. Okay, yeah, I think that's from the old Batman Spawn comic book from the crossover from the 90s. I think at the end of the story, Spawn had been annoying Batman through the whole comic, and at the very end, Batman's like walking away, and he says, "Hey, Spawn." Spawn turns around, and Batman like throws a batarang right in his face, so it like bisects his skull, which I thought was very un-Batman-like. I was like, why would Batman try to kill this guy? Because I mean, I know Spawn has superpowers, but how does he know that this batarang is not going to kill Spawn when he drives it through his skull into his brain? It just seemed very weird. I think Frank Miller wrote that, and then Todd McFarlane drew it. But yeah, it was odd. But yeah, after that crossover, I know for a while that Spawn had like shoelaces, like closed up the wound with like shoelaces in the middle of his face in the normal Spawn comic book. I thought that was kind of, it was both funny and weird because the fact that McFarlane continued that whole that whole plot line, Batman, sort of slicing Spawn's face in half. He kept it for quite a while. I was like, okay, it was funny in that one-off comic book, but you don't have to bring it into the main comic book. This looks kind of weird. um, Yash says, in your opinion, who is the most powerful character in all of comics? I have no idea, Yash, because I don't know every character in comics. Um, it could be anyone. I mean, Death is a character in the comic books. You know, Death. I don't know. Which version of Death, the Marvel version or the DC version. God. Which version, the Marvel version of the DC. I mean, you know it's impossible to say. Victor says, I'm just saying the head looks Erodimus Flash level, artist level. Oh wait, didn't see the highlight on his cheeks. It looks. I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to say, Victor. I like Erodimus Flash's artwork actually. I mean, I think he's a really good artist. It's just that he's drawing so many finished drawings within 2 hours. It's hard. You know, I mean, Erodimus Flash is a really good artist. I mean, just seeing what he does and the number of drawings he does in 2 hours, it's extremely impressive. So, if I am Erodimus Flash level art, if I produce that, I'm very happy with that. I wish I could draw that fast. I cannot. As you can tell, as you can tell by watching me over the past, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't know, however long this has been going on. I am not the hare in the race. I'm much more the tortoise. I, uh, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a way I, I can train myself to be faster. It's just that uh, I just draw at the speed I'm comfortable at. So, but I do want to work on my speed. Hmm. All right. Now the cape. I got that part of the cape there. Let's see. All right. Actually, I gotta erase some stuff. All right. Okay. Underside of the cape starts here. All right. Hmm. Hmm. Apologize for the sound effects. I tend to make them when I am using my little brain cells to think what I'm going to do. Um, the use of lighting and highlights makes stuff look real good. Yeah, that's the part I'm struggling with. Trying to figure out. I always struggle with this. Trying to figure out where to put the shadows in drawings because my natural tendency is to leave the art open, and it's a bad habit I got into when I was learning how to draw. I figured, I'm a penciler. I'm not an inker. They don't have to worry about the shadows. It's like, yeah, but you gotta give them direction on where the shadows are supposed to go with your penciling. And I never really took that into account until later on. And so now I, whenever I draw, I always have to step back, think again, rethink where the shadows should fall and how to make them look convincing and accurate, or believable, rather. I mean, it's a comic book drawing. It's not going to be accurate. Some people have an instinctive sense of light and shadow. I do not. I'm forced to dwell on it, give it a think before I come to a decision. Yeah. Just stand up, take a look at it from a distance. Hmm. Hmm. Doesn't look too bad. Not too bad, but yeah. Let's see this. All right. Um, Victor says the most powerful character in Marvel is a Molecule Man. He beat the Beyonders, who beat Marvel's God. Huh. That's interesting. I guess the Molecule Man overcame his weakness, which was affecting human flesh. I mean, I didn't think he was. I mean, I know he was powerful, but I didn't think he was more powerful than like the Beyonders or Captain Universe, who can do anything. So, but I haven't read anything with the Molecule Man in quite a while. I think last time I read of him was in Secret Wars, which was back in the 80s. So maybe he is the most powerful. Actually, he's not. He's not the most powerful character in Marvel. The most powerful character in Marvel is Squirrel Girl, because Squirrel Girl can beat anyone, no matter how powerful they are. So that's that. Squirrel Girl wins by default. Trying to think of how to shade that hand. Whether just to make it black or not sure. I think I'm just going to make it black because it's. I think. Yeah. I guess. Dang nabbit. I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a short break, stretch for a second, and then get something to drink, and I will be right back. Don't go away.
there. What a wonderful time for you to drop by. You know, they're just setting up to shoot a scene of our new star, and I'd love to introduce you before they begin. Honestly, we're all just bursting with excitement about this brilliant new performer. We think this one will not only win every award hands down, but it's just going to win the hearts of people all over the country. Come on, I want you to meet a great new star.
That was weird. Something happened to the stream when I was out and about. Sorry about that. Hopefully everybody's still here. Well, probably not since the stream sort of went down. Apologize for that. But we're back up and live, and I think we only lost one person. 3 people still watching. So thank you very much for continuing to hang out with me tonight. Let me just make sure that the stream is still going. Seems to be working. but I'm not seeing any video. There we go. Okay. Did hit live. My mistake. Brought back some friends. Capri Sun, yay! So I can drink while I work. All right. So that's going. That's going. Tablet is on. Gotta get back to YouTube because it died while I was. Everything seemed to die after I left the room. I think they were all waiting for me to no longer be around to just up and quit on me. All my devices. All my devices waited till I left the room and then said, okay, we're going to bed. It's late. This guy's crazy. Doesn't he know it's 3:45 in the morning? We're going to sleep. So, and it is getting late. But I want to finish this drawing before I go to bed. But I need to go to bed fairly soon. Capri Sun is like the best drink ever. It's like astronaut drink, but we can drink it ourselves. Apologize for my Capri Sun slurping. So good, so good, so good. Yash says, video's working fine. The straw for those is way too small. No, it's just fine, Yash. It's just fine. It's perfect. Yash says, yeah, it's the best when you're 8 years old. It's the best whether you're 8 or 48. It does not matter. It's Capri Sun. It's awesome. It's for all ages. If it's good enough for astronauts, it's good enough for me. All right. Let me get back to drawing so I can get to bed. My brain needs a nap. Excuse me. Where is, I'll use this. This is a quick rough I did for drawing this on the computer. So it came out pretty well. I'm going to use this to protect the paper from my hands. Now get a cup of pure apple juice or pure mango juice. Now that's good. You know what's good is when I get like mango orange juice from the store. Who sells that? That's Simply Orange, I think. Simply Orange sells like a mixture of like mango and orange juice or pineapple juice and orange juice, and those are really good. I'm like, yum. When I have a choice between buying just plain orange juice and mango orange or pineapple orange, I always choose a mixture. Mixture is really good. But I love pure apple juice too. And what I really like is taking pure apple juice and putting it in a microwave, so it's like hot cider. That's the best. It's so good. It's like good. Hey, man, but what's up with my tablet? My tablet's like acting freaky. I'm trying to ink your tablet. Quit distracting me. Dad, burn it. Dad, gum. Come on. Stop. Goofing around. Stop it. All right. It says Trader Joe's. Unfortunately, Unlib headquarters. It's great pure mango nectar. It's great stuff. Has some grape juice mixed in, but that's fine. Grape tastes great. Yeah, generally I like all fruit juices. Um, I much prefer sort of natural fruit juices than Capri Sun's fine, but it's garbage in terms of juice. It's just it's not healthy for you. I drink it because it's fun and it's convenient. I just love, I don't know, something about that packaging that just like gets me. I'm just like, oh man, that's so cool. I get to live out all my astronaut dreams without leaving Earth, just by drinking Capri Sun. All right. Yes says, yeah, the packaging is cool. If it was 3 times the size with normal straws, it'd be okay. Yeah, that'd be cool too. That'd be cool. I don't know if I'd be able to drink that much though in one go. Of course, I tend to drink them two or three at a time, but the smaller packaging just makes it more, I don't know, makes it more manageable for me. And like you said, it's primarily for kids, so I want to make it small enough so kids can fit it in their lunch boxes. All right, almost there, at least with this part. Hmm. Why is the rough draft a knight again? It's not a knight. All you talking about these lines here? This is just these are just guidelines to show where the eyes go and where the center of the head is. So it's I can figure out the direction. If the character, here's his head. If the character's supposed to be looking up, then I draw the eye line like that, so he's looking up, and then the center line where his nose goes will go depending on where he's facing. If he's facing this direction, 3/4 view, then I draw the center line like that. If he was facing this direction, I would draw the center line like that. If he's facing front, then I draw the center line like that. It's just a visual cue for me when I'm doing the details, how I should place the various parts of his face, his nose, his mouth, and his eyes. So there are other lines too. You can put, you can put a nose line here. You can put a mouth line there. You can put a forehead line or hairline there. Just for me though, I usually just put the center line and then the eye line, because that helps me visualize how those two elements of the person's face are going to go. And then the rest I can just sort of, I just go from there. Okay, Yesh is goofing on me. So. All right. Oops. Stay. Ow. That wasn't pleasant. I need to stretch my feet more. That hurt. What was that? Whew. Yeah, the night took out that couple that married couple I drew. They're dead now. The night took them out. All right. Now, get my glasses on my face. See what I'm doing. Hope I don't mess this up. I'll just, trying to think of the best way to do this. Dagnabbit. Yesh says, I'm getting good at trolling, eh? I suppose. I think I need more light. Oh, that's better. Dang. Ouch. Wow. That is better. Light is important when you draw, folks. It's a lot hard to draw when you don't have enough light. I'm just going to call you Shrek from now on, Yesh. No, Shrek was an ogre. He wasn't a troll. What's the difference? I don't know what the difference is. I don't know. Pardon me. Pardon moi. Trying to draw as fast as possible, honest, without screwing it up. I could draw faster, but the faster I draw, the sloppier I get. And I don't want this to look terrible. So trying to do it at a fairly moderate pace. Not too fast, but not too slow either. All right, that's okay. Now I gotta fill it in. Okay. You should see the Troll Hunter movie. It's Norwegian, but very well made. Who are you drawing that for? This is not for anyone. This is from earlier today, when I was in this drawn and quartered drawing competition. I think the link is in the description. It's a weekly competition where artists, comic book artists, compete against each other, drawing the same subject, and we have 2 hours to finish the drawing. And tonight the subject was Spawn. So this is what I started, and I got a fair amount of the way through in the 2 hours, but I didn't finish. I came in last place. That's how good the other artists were. These are really, really good artists. So I was happy with my placing last. I wasn't happy with it, but I wasn't crushed by it because the other artists were so good. Just really, really skilled artists. But you can check it out. Just go to the link in the description at your leisure and take a look-see, take a peek. All right, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's okay. All right.
The mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here. And now, for the first time, we are bringing to you the full story of what happened on that fateful day. The incidents, the places. My friend, we cannot keep this a secret any longer. Can your heart stand the shocking facts about grave robbers from outer space?
Don't want to do that. Wrong eraser. So are you finishing it to show with your resume later on if you apply somewhere? No. I'm finishing it, 1, to finish it, because I want to finish it, and 2, possibly sell it if someone wants it. So we shall see. I'm gonna probably be participating in a Friday night auction on YouTube. Where artists sell, comic book artists sell their original art. So I'm gonna try to sell it there, and if no one buys it, then I will just offer it up for sale on Twitter if anyone wants it. But mainly it's to finish it, because I have so much artwork that I just don't finish. I start it and it doesn't get done, and then 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, I still see it sitting around unfinished. I'm just like, dang it, should have finished it. Now this thing. Yash says, you draw very clean and actually make your stuff look good. It seems like often people like weirder looking art like Batman Long Halloween had. maybe that's why you came in last place in that contest. No, that wasn't it. Because I mean, the other artists are really good. They don't draw weird art. I mean, their art is very clean as well. It's just they're just very skilled artists, and they finished on time. I mean, that's a big factor. I mean, me doing a half finished drawing, you know, will probably lose against someone who does a finished drawing that's just as good, if not better. Man, I wish I could show you. I mean, well, I mean, when you have a chance, go to the link and click on it. And watch the video. I mean, you don't have to watch the whole thing. It's 2 hours long. But go just fast forward to the end of the video and watch the people who won. First, second, and third place winners. I mean, they're really good artists. I think the winner, can't remember how to pronounce his name, is Hyung Win. He is a video game artist. He does concept art and video game illustrations for various companies. He used to draw the Punisher for Marvel Comics back in the 90s. He's done tons of stuff. But he won tonight. Matthew Weldon, the artist for the comic book Punchline, came in second, and he's a phenomenal artist. I mean, if you look at Matthew Weldon's art, it will blow you away. He did Lady Spawn tonight, and he ended up doing 2 drawings because he's so freaking fast. He did one completed ink drawing of Lady Spawn, and then he did a pencil drawing of the Violator, the clown version of the Violator. I don't know if does he have a name? I can't remember his name as a clown, but just amazing art. So I am more than happy to come in last place when people like that are competing. Uh-oh, Yesh is leaving. He says, "Be right back." Come on. I'm making a mess. Ay. I apologize for my yawning. It's just late. My body is letting me know that it needs sleep. I know you need sleep, body, but I want to get more of this done. Yesh says, okay, just saw whoever drew the chick with the big hair and lots of shading was really good. That's Matthew Weldon. He came in second. I mean, that guy's a really, really good artist. I mean, if you look at some of his other stuff, it's just blows my mind looking at his work. Yours is just as good as that and better than all the rest. Well, thanks, but yeah, just knowing my own skill level and what those other guys are capable of, I can't quite agree with that, but I do appreciate it. My head's hitting the camera again, dagnabbit. All right. All right. All right. Let's get to it. Frickin' A. And not to mess up, but these dag-nabbed eyes are not what they used to be. Not that they were ever great to begin with, but all right. Weldon seems to be really good at shading. Just saw his punchline stuff. Weldon is honestly, he is one of the best artists I've seen in a long time. I mean, don't just look at this punchline stuff. I mean, I wish I could. I mean, just Google Matthew Weldon on Google. Google Matthew Weldon on Google. And you just look at the variety of characters and things he's drawn, and he's like the nicest guy. I mean, just extremely friendly, really goofy. He also has a YouTube channel that he posts not often enough, but he does post every once in a while. I subscribe to that. You'll see just phenomenal art from him. And he's fairly young. I mean, he's only 39 years old, but he's been working in comics for quite a while. I mean, over a decade, I think. Just a very skilled person, just very skilled artist. Whew. Oh. It's killing me. Sorry. I really do not want to stop drawing, but my body is starting to shut down. Yes, says so. He's not a trolling jerk like me. No, he's not. But he's just a really he's a weird, funny, goofy guy. Again, if you just watch that the competition from tonight, you'll get a good idea of what he's like. Um, Yash says his stuff in Psycho 66 is amazing. Yeah, he's a very good artist. Yeah, he is. I every time I see him draw, I'm just like he has never ceased to amaze me at his skill. And the coolest thing about him is that he's like he's so freaking humble and self-deprecating. It's I mean just a it kind of makes you frustrated because like he seems not to recognize or understand how good he is. And then when he sells his original artwork, he sells it for like dirt cheap. And everyone is like clamoring to get it. I mean, he's just a really, really cool guy. When like Punchline, it's comic book Punchline. I They don't sell it in my local comic book store. So he he said that he has some extra copies of Punchline if anyone wanted them. So I um, DM'd him on Twitter and asked him if he had any extras he'd be willing to sell to me. He said, "Yeah, sure." And he not only signed them, it's like issues like one and two. He not only signed those copies for me and mailed them to me after selling them to me. He he continued to do that for the next several issues of the comic book, and he got the writer to sign them as well for me. I mean, he's just like just a great guy, really, really, really cool guy. Easily one of the nicest guys I've met in comics. I haven't actually met him, but talked to, or one of the nicest guys I've talked to or interacted with in comics. And there are a lot of nice people I've met in comics, but he's one he stands out. His art looks similar to Liam Sharp. I would not say that at all. Um, Having seen both he and Liam Sharp's art, I mean, Matthew Weldon's art is I recognize it as soon as I see it. I've never ever been in danger of not of mistaking it for someone else's. I find it very distinctive. He reminds me of his art style reminds me a lot of what's the art movement from the early 20th century. It's not romantic. It's his art style reminds me almost of like Alphonse Mucha, if you're familiar with him. Um, it's what is that um, art movement from the early 20th century? My brain keeps on saying romantic, but that's not it. It's anyway. It's very very organic. His art style. Art Nouveau, thank you. Great Scott. Art Nouveau. Thank you, Humphrey Bear. My brain just shut down like a bad toaster. Art Nouveau. Yeah, that's what his style reminds me of. The Art Nouveau style. Um, Yash says humbleness is good. Self-deprecation is not. Is humbleness taken too far? Well, not if it's not if it's sincere. I mean, there are a lot of really skilled people who honestly don't think that their whatever they do, their art, their whatever, is as good as it is. Because people tend to be very self-critical of themselves when they do something. So um, I agree. There's a difference between the two, but he's a very very cool person um, who isn't afraid to make fun of himself or to make light of you know whatever whatever weird foibles he may have. So he's a very very cool guy. Transitional art? No. Humphrey Baragotti. It was Art Nouveau. That was the art movement I was thinking of. Very organic, naturalistic, flowery, stylized form of art and design from the early 20th century.
Yet when wires are loaded with a lot of conversations, they're boosted in strength and travel some distance. Something else happens. Let me show you. You see, instead of sounding like this, your voice comes out sounding like this.
Come on. I want you to meet a great new product.
Yes says, yeah, like you, self-critical that is. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm kind of my self-criticism are kind of justified. Yeah, again, I tend to compare myself to like better artists. So I am self-critical to a point. I mean, I'm not a terrible artist. I'm not, I'm a good artist, but I'm not where I want to be as an artist. I guess that's probably what I want to say. And seeing art from people like Matt Weldon shows me just how much more I can improve. So I really enjoy seeing art from people who are much better than me. So I can gives me something to sort of strive for. All right. Hmm. Hmm. Dude, you gotta draw Violator someday. He's cool. I already drew Violator. You can look at that comic book I drew a while back. 25 years ago, I drew him. Yeah, I never found Violator that interesting. I mean, at least the monster version of him. The clown version was much more, I guess, compelling to me. But I never read that much Spawn, so I don't know just how much more there was to him other than what I saw. All right. Hmm. Yash says, okay, then draw Lobo with the bulldog and dolphins and all that for your next contest day. I don't know about that. How did you learn to do proportions? Is it mostly 8 heads high for superheroes? I think so. I mean, I don't really do the head thing anymore. But what you should do is, but yeah, I mean, for standard person, normal person, I think it's like 6.5, 7 heads high for a normal man, and then for superhero, the proportions are are Mo in every way. Mo taller, Mo muscular, more built, because you want the characters to look super heroic, more than normal. But one good guy to go to is How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, the classic book by Stanley and John Buscema. Hold on one second. Here's my copy. Probably showed you before. Got it when I was 11. My parents got it for me, rather. So blame them for all this, for my 11th birthday. And it shows you the proportions for characters. Oh, where is it? Let's study the figure. Chapter 4. There you go. Shows you how many heads high. Reed Richards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5 heads high. Wow. Sue Storm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5 for a woman as well. And then it shows a difference between a normal person and a superheroic person and their proportions. So, if you can read that, it says, note the superhero is larger with broader shoulders, more muscular arms and legs, heavier chest, and even a more impressive stance. There's nothing weak looking about the fellow next to Captain America, but a superhero simply has to look more impressive, more dramatic, and more imposing than an average guy. And that's basically it. So, and it varies from character to character. Like the Thing is not 8.5. He's 8 heads high, just because his proportions are wider. Same with Kingpin. Kingpin is what, 5 heads high? So it just depends on the character, what you're drawing. But for a normal person, he would be slighter than a superhero, who would be, I guess, 8.5 heads high, like that. So. But again, I don't generally measure heads in terms of height when I draw characters. I just visually, because I've been reading comic books since I was 4. So you tend to have a visual sense of what superhero heroic proportions look like compared to drawing an average person. But in the back of your mind, you should always have those sort of guidelines, like eight or so heads for a normal person, and then less for 8.5 heads for a comic book character, superhero type person, and then less for a normal person. But if I were drawing like a portrait, like a full body portrait of someone, they wouldn't be 8.5 heads high. They would look freakish. But for comic books, it's fine, and probably more appropriate. Like this guy, I mean, he's probably more than 8 heads high, because he's ridiculously, his proportions are kind of ridiculous. So he's probably like, I don't know, 10 heads high. Who knows? All right. All right. Humphrey Bear says, did you draw arms and legs too short or too long when you started to draw people? I drew everything wrong. Everything was drawn wrong when I first started drawing people. So it's, and when I draw people now, everything is drawn wrong. That's why I have to draw my pencils so tight, because I'm forced to erase everything at some point. I mean, at one point, you know, this guy's arm was like down here, you know, instead of up where it should have been, because I didn't draw the arm through behind or inside of this gauntlet first. I just drew the gauntlet. It's like, oh, that looks cool. And then the gauntlet was like reaching down here, and then his hand was underneath it. And I thought, it's like, let me just draw the arm inside the gauntlet just to make sure that. And when I did that, I realized I made his forearm too long, and then I had to shrink it, bring it up, and you know, you're constantly changing things because, you know, I'm not a good enough artist to just draw something and not have it need correcting. I need, you know, they say, you know, measure twice, cut once. I have to measure like 20 times before I before I commit to inking something, just because it's and I make a lot of mistakes. The eraser is my best friend when it comes to drawing. What am I doing? What am I doing? I know what I want to do, but it's trying to figure out the best way to accomplish it. Eraser, taking that. Nah, hard to talk with a pencil in your mouth. All right. Hmm. Ah. Oof. Dropping everything. right, that looks okay. Meh, looks okay. It's not going to be perfect. I know. Getting there. All right, all right. Hey, Blacklist Universe says Spawn is at $674,830, 13 hours in. That is pretty awesome, Mike. That's pretty awesome. So, Serial Comics Presents isn't quite at that point yet, but hopefully we will get there by the end of our campaign on May 12th. So if you haven't already supported it, go to the link in the description, and scrolling past you on the tip at the bottom of your screen, go to www.secret-comics.com and support the comic book that I am currently working on, Secret Comics Presents, a horror anthology written by Nasser Rabadi. Blacklist Universe says no, but it's going to bring an all-new audience into crowdfunding, so long-term it will help us all. Yeah, I hope so. That would be awesome. That would be most awesome. Now, he is selling a statue, you said? Like a toy set? Or a statue? I don't know. I haven't taken time to look. So I'm kind of in the dark about exactly what it is Todd McFarlane is selling or crowdfunding. Toys and comics together. Okay. Neat. Very, very neat. For those of you who don't know, Blacklist Universe is comic book artist Mike S. Miller, who has drawn a ton of things from Justice League to Injustice for DC Comics. He also does covers for George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones comic book. And he has his own own character called Lone Star, which is currently available on Indiegogo. If you go to LoneStarComics.com, you can back Mike's book and buy his comics. Great artist, phenomenal artist. He needs to spot his blacks more when he draws, but he's a fantastic artist and a phenomenal inker. I mean, Mike's a great artist, but I'm most impressed with his inking. He has an extremely steady hand at inking, and he's extremely fast, which is both are skills which I would love to acquire. But Mike's been doing this for decades, so he has a lot of experience with what he does. But if you haven't already, go subscribe to his channel, Blacklist Universe. He he does a lot of cool stuff. He also has another channel called Mike Draws Comics, where he focuses on drawing comics and teaching people how to do certain things with illustration. Very talented man. Very talented man. Let's see.
What if it bumped that control by accident? You'd be mid-stick by now. What have I told you?
All right, I guess I wasn't thinking.
You weren't thinking. You mean you work on engines and machinery and not thinking your own personal business? There. Shake hands with danger.
See, Yesh says, so Violator is that big demon who disguises himself as a clown often, but then reveals himself a lot, right? Yes, that's who Violator is, yes. I don't see any Spawn project. Where is it? It might be on Kickstarter. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it. If you're talking about Todd McFarlane's new crowdfunder, I would just I would Google it. Type in Todd McFarlane on Google, or go to Kickstarter and Indiegogo and type in Spawn in the search for both. But I personally have not seen the campaign, so I don't know exactly where it is. Oh my gosh, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Great Scott. All right. Yeah, I may have to cut this short because I need to get some sleep. And I have a feeling that this is going to be taking me a little while longer than I had hoped, unfortunately. Yeah, this is why I tend to come in last place on Drawn and Quartered. For a 2 hour competition, it takes me quite a bit longer to finish a complete inked piece of artwork. Stop. Yush. Yush says, oh, it's some little cheap quality statue he's selling. Not interested. Dang, you are harsh. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on the quality of the statue or anything else. All I know is that a lot of people like Todd McFarlane's work, including his toys and his statues. So more power to him. I hope that, well, it obviously is a big success. It seems to be. If he's almost at $700,000 at this point, after only being available for 13 hours. That's pretty impressive. That is very impressive, actually. Mm. Yesh is extremely critical of Tom McFarlane's statue. It's a piece of crap statue, basically. Well, seems that a lot of people with money are disagreeing with you. I'll take a look at it when I get off this stream. What is it on? What platform is it on? Yush, is it on Kickstarter or is it on Indiegogo? Just don't want to have to be searching all over the internet for it. It's on Kickstarter. Okay, thank you, Curious. I appreciate it. Yeah, tonight was the first I've heard about it. I didn't even know he had something. He was coming up with something, trying to crowdfund something. I think someone mentioned that he was talking about crowdfunding a movie, a new Spawn movie eventually. And I think I had heard something about that, but this toy dealio is the first I've heard. First I've heard about it. Well, maybe it is actually a chew toy for dogs. Yes, so. That's good. And that's good. Let me finish the other skull on his shoulder. All right. Now, all right.
waves will clear strong and are turned into vibration. The brain translates into particular sound. Now the wave moves in shallow, 20 times per second, and faster than 15,000 times per second, are mostly missed by the human ear. These pulsations are referred to as cycles and account for so many percent. Thus, the number of cycles per second in a given sound are described as its frequency. Are you with me? Now watch while I sing a low note. Well, as the record plays, the needle wiggles at the high number of cycles per second, which have been recorded. Now this creates electrical impulses, which are then stimulated by this amplifier, and then pushed out through that speaker in the form of sound. And I suppose that the bigger and better the speakers, the higher the fly. If you don't mind if that's fun. Well, I just don't want you to get the idea that maybe by having a big speaker is an ordinary way. What you get in a hi-fi set is best described as presence, a feeling of life and nearness in the music. Once you've heard high fidelity overdubs, music is hard to satisfy with anything
Okay, it's about 5:12 in the a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to stop at this point and head on over to bed. But I want to thank everybody who has hung out with me for the past few hours. I don't know how long I've been on. How long has this been going on? Nah. 3 hours and 40 minutes. I got to be more careful with my StreamYard time. I only have 20 hours a month. I'm using it up pretty fast at this rate. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. For your patience with my slow drawing. But like I said, I need to work on my speed a little. And you know, if I go any faster, I am guaranteed to mess it up, and I don't want to mess this up. So I'm just gonna end it here while I'm still somewhat conscious and still able to draw fairly straight lines without mucking everything up. Curious 2A says quitter. I'm sorry. I wish I could carry on, press forward, but I'm gonna have to get at least a few hours sleep. I need to get something to eat as well. I haven't eaten yet. So that's probably also coming into play in terms of my fatigue. But anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell for notifications of future videos, because I will be back later on today. And I guess it is today, no matter where you are in the country. If you're somewhere else on the planet, it's probably either yesterday or maybe later on. Maybe it's tomorrow. I don't know. Regardless, I'll be back on at some point in the near future. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. Make sure the bell is set for all in the notifications so that you are sure to get all of the notifications for when I get back online. Blah, blah, blah. My brain's dying. Give this live stream a thumbs up. And please, if you haven't already, please consider backing the comic book I'm drawing, the horror anthology. If you like stuff like this, creepy sort of monsters. He's not really a monster. He's a good guy. But if you like this sort of artwork, consider backing Secret Comics Presents, the horror anthology I'm currently drawing. It's a comic book, black and white, 20 pages. You can get an issue for as little as $8 for a signed copy. And there are other tiers as well. You can get original artwork. You can buy original pages from the book. You can buy a head sketch from me, a lot of different things. So go to secret-comics.com. The link is in the description and also scrolling at the bottom of your screen. So click on it, take a look, and help back this book, because without your support, we cannot publish it and mail it out to everybody who backs it. And we need to raise $6,000 by May 12th. So please back the book if you haven't already. And if you have already backed the book, please consider backing it to another tier, which you are also able to do. So, but everyone, you have a great night. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching. And I will see you guys later, all right? Stay out of trouble, and I will see you soon. Okay? Bye-bye.